Verses 1 to 11, Jesus rides into Jerusalem on a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy in Zechariah 9 to 9. The people spread cloaks and palm branches, shouting Hosanna to the Son of David. Explanation. This moment reveals Jesus as the peaceful Messiah. Instead of coming as a conquering king on a horse, he arrives humbly, emphasizing peace and servanthood. Verses 12 to 17, Jesus enters the temple and drives out those buying and selling. He declares, "My house will be called a house of prayer." Explanation. Jesus is angry not because people are in the temple, but because they're misusing a holy space for profit. He restores its sacred purpose, verses 18 to 22. Jesus curses a fig tree for having no fruit, and it withers. He uses it to teach about faith and prayer. Explanation. The fig tree symbolizes people who appear spiritual, like having leaves, but lack real fruit, genuine faith, and action. Jesus highlights the power of faith when it's real, verses 23 to 27. The religious leaders question Jesus' authority. He responds with a question they can't answer, exposing their hypocrisy. Explanation. Jesus wisely turns their challenge back on them. They feared the people more than they feared God, showing their lack of integrity, verses 28 to 32. One son says no, but later obeys. The other says yes, but doesn't act. Jesus uses this to show that actions matter more than words. Explanation. The obedient son represents repentant sinners, while the disobedient one represents religious leaders who talk faith but don't live it. Verses 33 to 46, a landowner leases a vineyard, but the tenants beat or kill every servant he sends, including his son. Jesus warns that God's kingdom will be taken from the unfaithful and given to others. Explanation. This parable refers to Israel's leaders rejecting God's prophets and finally his son. It's a prophetic warning about rejecting Christ. Matthew 21 offers powerful lessons that apply directly to our daily lives. It reminds us to live with humility, just as Jesus entered Jerusalem not with pride but on a donkey in peace. It challenges us to keep our hearts pure, like the temple Jesus cleansed, calling us to examine our motives and clear out anything that dishonors God. The fig tree teaches us to not just look religious, but to bear real spiritual fruit through faith, love, and action. The parables in this chapter show that God values obedience over empty words, and that true faith is shown by what we do, not just what we say. Finally, Matthew 21 reminds us to recognize and honor Jesus as the cornerstone of our lives, putting him at the center of our decisions, relationships, and purpose. These principles help us live more honestly, faithfully, and fruitfully every day.